Hi, so good evening, everyone. I hope you guys had a great week while we had to do research chat. So welcome to our Sibasi webinars. And on today, our theme is Monday, and we are talking all about monitoring and evaluation in our projects, be it you're in an NGO, be it you're in a company, be it that you have that project that you've been planning to do for a while in organization, but you don't have the correct resources. So on today's talk, we have our expert. He's called Jeff Divide, and he's going to take us through how to write a case study and how Monival is doing implementation of the IT project. So I'm looking forward to learning about what is a case study, how they go about it. Yeah, some ground rules. If you have any question, kindly drop them in the Q&A section, and also reach out to us later. So Jeff, it's your turn. You can start.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all well. Welcome to this talk, Monival Mondays. So on our talk today, we're going to talk about, we are discussing a case studies of how Monival is used during implementation of the projects that we work on in Sibasi. So a quick introduction. We have the agenda for today's talk. So the first thing, we'll have an introduction. We'll discuss what monitoring and evaluation is. We'll also discuss the methods and the processes, the key modules that are used in Monival. Next, we'll discuss the various case studies that we have. We'll have a session on questions where you can drop questions where something was not clear. So without further ado, let's start. So what is monitoring and evaluation? So monitoring and evaluation is basically a process where we go through the inputs that are being brought into the project. We have the activities that are part of the project, and we have the outputs that are to be generated in the project. That encompasses the monitoring. For the evaluation part, we have the outcomes, what we expect at the end of the project, and we have the impact that will generate to the clients. So part of the inputs is what has been invested. It can be money, it can be time, it can be volunteers, it can be manpower. That's part of the inputs. Activities, we can also call them processes. These are generally what was done. We have meetings, we have trainings, we have assessment, we have the actual development of the project. We have maybe sending of status reports, any communication that we have with the client. That's part of the process. That's part of activities that have been done in the development of the project. For the outputs, we have the target that, or rather the objectives that we have during the project. We might have who did we reach out to, who did we depending on the project, it can be various people, it can be various groups, depending on the project. For the outcome, we have short-term and long-term effects. The short terms are what we call outcomes. This is where we generate awareness, we provide skills, motivation to the clients, and we also have the impact, the long-term effects. So these are also dependent on the project. So various projects will have different long-term effects, and basically that's part of the monitoring and evaluation. That's the introduction. So next up, we're going to look at a case study. So generally, when we talk about IT projects, we have 3 key aspects that we think about. So these are budget. This can also be called the cost. We have the time frame. We have the scope of the project. So these are the 3 key pillars that we would generally look at when we are starting implementation of a project. So on the budget, we talk about how much is the project going to cost. we talk about the risks of the project, monetary, this basically the monetary aspect of the project. On the time frame, we talk about how much time do we need to develop each and every feature that we come up with during the scope of the project. So the three of them are kind of intertwined, because to come up with a time frame, we need to come up with a scope, and to come up with a budget, we need to come up with a time frame and the scope also. So scope of the project details what will be done and what will not be done. So we can have various features being implemented. And the features are what we call the scope of the project. So this is just a representation of how, when you intertwine these three aspects, you get the quality projects that we, or quality solutions that we offer to our clients. So as we talked before, we have the cost, we have the time, and the scope. It's just a visual representation. Next up, we'll just talk about how now the Monival Monival solution helps us come up with this, or rather have an effective intertwine of these three key aspects. So we'll start with the monitoring stage of the project. And as we said, we have the three major aspects, and Monival helps us at the start of each project to come up with this, numbers for these key aspects. So it helps us set a scope, it helps us set a budget, and it also helps us set time frame for all the key features that will be implemented. So during this monitoring, during this initial step, we come up with an inception report that details all the three aspects that I've just talked about. And throughout the project, as we go along, Monival helps us monitor whether we are making progress, whether we are on track to achieving the objectives set within the deadlines, within the time frame that was set. It helps us manage whether we are implementing the solutions that are within scope of the project. So during monitoring, we generate weekly status reports that we share with the clients. And these status reports are basically content that comes up by ticking off features that we generated within the inception reports. So it's basically a way that we interact with the client, and it helps us keep track, keep the client engaged with the process of the project implementation. We also get feedback from the clients through the weekly status reports, which also helps us evaluate whether we are making good progress and whether we are solving the needs of the client. So the weekly status reports, as I mentioned, are generated automatically through the Monival tool, and we also send them within the schedule that we set up during the time frame. So different projects can have different times to send the status reports. There are some that you send maybe weekly or bi-weekly. Can have status reports going out maybe on Fridays or on Mondays, depending on the what was agreed upon when we started implementing the project with the clients. So basically, Monival just helps us tick off features on the project, and the ticked off features are what are included in the status reports. Yeah, so that's on monitoring aspect of the solution. Next up, we have the evaluation process. So as I mentioned, there are status reports which basically act as an evaluation method too. So when we talk about status reports, the client is able to give us feedback on how they feel about the progress, how they feel about the implementation, how they feel about the scope, whether we are on target. Basically, it helps us maintain a great relationship with the client through the project. Also, for the evaluation, once we are done with the project, we are able to offer hand-holding session for all the projects that we do. This hand-holding session is basically where we offer training to the clients. We do various things during hand-holding. So the first thing we do is that we offer training to the clients. We help the client understand how to maintain the solution on their own, how to utilize what how to utilize the features and the features that we have developed. So sometimes the project could be complicated and the training could be recursive. And during these trainings, after each and every training that we do, we provide the client with forms, with survey forms. So the survey forms basically help us understand whether the clients or the users are able to take up the solution. We are able to understand whether we are offering we are offering the objectives that we had set out during the initial start of the project. We are able to verify whether we are offering basically whether we are offering great service to the clients. So yeah, so during these hand-holding sessions also we involve the, so various projects can have different users. We can have the client as the user, or we can have users who are not the clients that give us the project. Maybe we can have users as members of the public, but the client is an organization. So for these various maybe aspects, we offer training to both the users and both the clients, and that's how we are able to make sure that we are offering the quality service that we intend to. So all these could not be possible without the monitoring and evaluation tool, without the Monival tool. So as we discussed earlier, the monitoring part of the Monival helps us come up with the three triads of the project: the budget, the scope, and the time frame. And with evaluation, we are able to make sure that, with the monitoring, we are able to make sure that through the development of the project, we have met each and every feature within the scope that we set out. And for the evaluation part, we are able to, once we have handed over the project, we are able to ensure that we are getting feedback from the clients and from the users. We are able to make sure that we are having good relationship with the client through the project. And yeah, so basically that's a walkthrough of a case study of how we implement IT projects. Yes, and with that we come to the end of our presentation today. If there are any questions from any of you, maybe you can share them through the chat, and we'll respond to them.
All right. Thank you, Jeff, for the session. From my side, I can't see any question on the chat. However, I would like to say that I really liked the part where you insisted on maintaining a great relationship between the client and the provider of the service. And I think the aspect of Monival generating weekly status report automatically is such a great feature that's going to help a lot of organizations to stay on track. So with that all being said and done, and I can't see any question, I think we come to the end of our webinar today. So thank you everyone who attended. Let's meet next week on Monday again, same time, and we'll be talking about plants. So that's it from Sibasi. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.